Hey, my friends, it's Dave Allen here, the dating specialist, to provide you some important principles you can apply to be a more effective dater. When I look back on the early days of my dating career, I realized something troubling. I don't know about you, but I was absolutely clueless. To put it mildly, I was somewhat of a late bloomer. I didn't go to my first dance until I was almost 16. And I only went because my cousins dragged me there, and I only danced with my cousins. I can count the number of dates I had in high school on two hands, and dating wasn't much more common in college. I didn't have my first official kiss until I was almost 24. I didn't have my first steady girlfriend until I was almost 25, and it wasn't until my late 20s and 30s that I finally got the hang of the whole dating thing. Why do I share these embarrassing details of my life? To help you understand that even if you are terrible at dating today, there is hope. You can be a more effective dater. The first place to start in becoming a more effective dater is to change your mindset. Based on that, I'd like to share with you 4 of the 8 Be Effective facts developed by the Lasting Love Academy. Be Effective fact number 1. Your situation does not define your value. Unfortunately, it is natural to feel like our worth as a person is based on our success in various areas of life. Do I have a good job? Do I make a lot of money? Am I skinny? Do I have big biceps? Do people like me? Am I smart? If we're not successful in our dating and romantic relationships, this can have perhaps the largest impact on our feelings of worth because it is so personal. However, if you allow your current lack of success in dating to define your value, it will destroy your confidence and will result in more dating failures, thus becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. In the early days of my dating, I took rejection really hard. Have you been there before? It felt so personal, and I allowed it to affect my self-esteem. As I got more experienced with my dating and relationships, I realized something. I dated some great girls that I broke up with or didn't ask out on a second date. Often this had more to do with me than it did with them. My genetics, my family history, my issues, etc. They all played a large role in my dating decisions and who I was attracted to. It had little to do with the quote-unquote quality of the girl. If that was true, then I knew something else. If I got rejected by a girl, it likely had a lot to do with her genetics, family history, issues, etc. I didn't have to let it affect my feelings of worth. Once I realized that, I handled rejection so much better. I still wasn't a fan of rejection, but if it did happen, I was able to quickly move on to other dating opportunities. Another side effect of this? If you handle rejection with confidence, you may find that there is still a chance with someone even after they have rejected you. More on that later. Be Effective fact number 3. You're not failing in dating and relationships, your technique is failing you. There is a big difference between those two ways of thinking. If you feel like a general failure with dating and relationships and see yourself as the problem, then you're likely to find yourself stuck in a cycle of dating failures, seemingly unable to move forward. However, if you realize that your lack of success is not something wrong with you, but is a problem with the techniques you're using, you can develop the skills to get better. That is something you can fix. My master's degree is in education, so I find it interesting to note where we focus our educational resources. There are some skills that are taught in school over a period of years. Many of these are essential and others, as you know, not so much. Then there are other skills that are so important to our life and well-being, and yet we are just expected to figure it out on our own. For example, most schools don't have curriculum that covers how to manage household finances and basic investing principles. These are critical life skills. We work so hard to teach kids how to get jobs that make more money, and then we fail to teach them how to use that money for long-term financial freedom. Similarly, for some strange reason, we're all just expected to know how to date and develop good relationships. I never learned anything about that in school when I was growing up. Did you? And yet research tells us that our relationships, romantic and otherwise, are the key ingredient. Let me repeat that. The key ingredient for our long-term happiness, more important than money, fame, social class, IQ, or genetics. So to sum up, if you are failing in your dating and relationships, it's not you, it's your technique. And technique can be learned. Be effective fact number 4. The more you practice, the better you get. This be effective fact builds on the premise of number 3. If dating success is based on learning the right techniques, then you'll get better as you practice. I mentioned earlier that I was terrible at dating in my teens and early 20s. In my late 20s and 30s, I actually got pretty good. I didn't suddenly get better looking. I developed better social and dating skills, such as being a better conversationalist, having more self-confidence, dressing better, using cologne, handling rejection well, trimming my nose hairs, true story, I'll have to tell you sometime, communicating interest with non-threatening physical touch, planning fun and creative dates, managing the timing of communication with the women I was dating, etc. So how are you doing with your dating skills? What are you doing to improve your dating technique? What are you doing to give yourself more opportunities to practice? Be effective fact number 8. If he or she doesn't respond, someone else will. This be effective fact is like a force field that will protect you when you are hit by the freight train of rejection. So many of my clients get hung up on one person and really start to believe that this person is their only chance for happiness. This belief is untrue, unhealthy, and usually causes a level of fear that results in dating failures. If you can believe that if one person doesn't respond, someone else will, then a single incident of rejection or even multiple rejections are no big deal. And that will make you powerful. Earlier I said if you handle rejection with confidence, you may find that there's still a chance with someone even after they have rejected you. Now it's time for that story I promised. My wife Angie rejected me multiple times before I finally managed to be her boyfriend and eventually her husband. We met at a church-sponsored singles conference. I engaged her a couple of times in casual conversation. She was having none of it. I didn't get the time of day. Oh well, I thought, and I flirted with other girls at the singles conference. After the singles conference, I decided to try adding Angie as a friend on Facebook. She accepted my friend request. Victory! Then I asked her out on Facebook. I never got a reply to that message. Oh well, I thought, and I asked out other girls. 8 months later, I run into Angie when I joined a group of singles for a night of dancing. I noticed that this time Angie was paying more attention to me. I managed to contact her later and this time got her to agree to a first date. Victory! However, she was very busy, quote unquote, and I only managed to get a Monday lunch date. Obviously, I was still on her B list. We went out on that first date and it went well. However, when I called Angie later that week to ask her out again, she didn't answer, and she didn't respond to my voicemail. Oh well, I thought, and I went out with other girls. Around 2 weeks later, she finally called me back. I could have been offended that she would take this long to call me back. Earlier in my dating career, when my ego could be easily bruised by rejection, I might have chewed her out for taking so long to get back to me. How well would that have gone over? Instead, I was glad to hear from her. We scheduled a second date, and the rest is history. Why was I successful with Angie? While I knew she was fantastic and I would be lucky to have her in my life, I also knew she wasn't my only chance for happiness. That belief and the confidence that came with it is why my love story has a happy ending. May your love story have a happy ending. Do you want to learn the other 4 of these Be Effective facts? Do you want to improve your dating technique? If so, set up some time with me and let's have a chat. I do video conference sessions with people all over the world. Click the link down below in the comments to schedule some time with me. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and ring that notification bell.